been joined by Usman Chohan. You're a political economist. Usman, thank you very much to have joined us. Usman, this is not the first time that Pakistan has been put on the FATF list. Before, in 2012, it was put in the FATF list between 2012 and 2015, and it was taken out in 2016. Now, since 2018, it is again on the grey list. But it hasn't moved from grey to black because Pakistan has taken the steps in the right direction. Now, there's again the plenary meeting of the FATF that is happening in Paris from tomorrow. What are Pakistan's chances?
Pakistan's chances are very strong that it may go to the white list. In the worst case scenario, it will be given an extension on the grey list. There is absolutely no possibility in my mind that there's blacklisting. Blacklisting is always a very remote incident anyways. There are only two countries on the blacklist that are notable, Iran and North Korea. To be put in the same category as them in terms of financial opaqueness would be actually a question on the FATF rather than on us. We came with 5 recommendations walking into this plenary being passed, and now, since Beijing last month, it has been decided that progress has been made on 9 more of those steps. The details of those we can discuss, but what it means is that more and more actors in society and institutions are being integrated into a financial architecture of oversight. Some of those include the judiciary, the state bank's audits, and so forth. So what we're seeing is a more comprehensive plan done in this country, implemented across more stakeholders, and that is a very positive sign that I believe the world is responding to positively.
All right. But there are, of course, other actors such as India that does not want Pakistan to come out of the grey list. In fact, it wants it to go in the blacklist. But on the other hand, we've got a very strong proponents of Pakistan who back Pakistan's stance, which include China, which include Turkey, which include Malaysia, among other countries that are seeing the progress in Pakistan and they are backing it. Recep Tayyip Erdogan was here in Pakistan, and he said that he is going to back Pakistan's stance to come out of the grey list as well. How important are these countries' backings as well for Pakistan to come out of that list?
The backings of countries are very important because of the way that the FATF is designed. It's designed to have consensus building and voting for or against other nations. So the fact that we have 3 vocal backers, the 3 you mentioned, China, Malaysia, and Turkey, is a very strong sign. Now there is a gray zone. I mean to say that there are countries that are dispassionate and want to see progress in Pakistan. They are neither our well-wishers nor ill-wishers. Exactly. They want to see us do well, and that is the pool within the membership of the FATF that we are targeting. We have made a very proactive effort in world capitals to articulate our cause. What we're trying to communicate is that it's irrealistic to transform a society overnight, and that the deadlines of the FATF were impossible as it is. And yet the kind of progress that we have made through collective will, through government direction, through integration and coordination among our stakeholders is tremendous for any nation. Because now we're being held to a standard of an OECD country, a developed country. We are in fact quite a ways away from complete development at the standard of an OECD country, but the fact is that we are moving positively in that direction.
When you talk about moving positively in the right direction, there are 27 points that the FATF has proposed to us that we need to implement ourselves on. Out of those, how many points have been implemented? I've heard 14 have been fully implemented, around 11 were partially implemented. Implementation on 2, they say it's more or less not possible. Will that be accepted by the FATF?
Yes, it depends on what we're looking at as a target. If we're looking at avoiding blacklisting, then certainly we've passed that target. As far as grey listing goes, the more points we are able to score, the better. I say score because there's a lot of subjectivity in this. When you say that you have done something like getting your financial monitoring unit to do assessments, that is quite objective. Something more like having checks at the airport, that is quite objective. At the same time, how informed is, for example, the judiciary or the state bank's audit or other things like cash smuggling? Those are almost degrees or along a spectrum. We are arguing that we have done a lot on those fronts, that our judiciary is very well informed, that our state bank does very robust audits. Now it is up to our audience as well to get along to our side of the program.
Now when you talk of the audience that we need to put up on our side of the program so that we can come out of that grey list, how much importance is also of the other actors that are also present that are trying to convince the countries? I mean, there's the government for one that is implementing the measures that the FATF has asked. Then there are the influencers like the countries that we are friendly with. Then there are other people that see that there are scholars who are watching us with a lot of interest. And there was a whole article on the different scholars around the world who've been watching how Pakistan Pakistan has been implementing the points that have been asked by the FATF, of which some are neutral, some are positive, one or two are negative. Will that influence the FATF's decision as well, or is it just the countries that are present there?
You can say that to a degree there may be some tacit influence, but generally the FATF's members would like to think that they arrive at the conclusions in a dispassionate manner, and that they come there doing their homework and they look at the evidence that is presented to them. We presented a very large document in Beijing. We're going here with a lot of arsenal of evidence, and similarly there's a lot of questions, a large questionnaire of things that we showed we have made progress on, to a certain degree, to a large degree, depending on each question.
Let's talk about one such topic that has recently happened. Hafiz Saeed has been convicted on 2 counts. Will that also move in Pakistan's favor as far as the FATF rating is concerned?
This is an excellent question, because when you work against banned outfits, you are working against individuals and you are working against organizations. As far as the organizational aspect goes, we had already done a lot of good work. For example, we had streamlined or mainstreamed the seminaries into our education departments at the provincial level. Similarly, we had taken their health provision and their clinics, their dispensaries under our health departments provincially. That was already being done. Then there's the question of the individual. As far as the individual goes, I think it's a very symbolic gesture. That's because there was a lot of heat brought from the United States and India on a particular individual. Now, individuals do not have as much effect as these countries would like to think. That's just a shorthand they use. But it is symbolic. The Assistant Secretary for State for South Asia, Alice Wells, said this was a very important gesture. She publicly said that. India has also had to then mince words, because the person that they had created such a hue and cry about has been put behind bars. The sentence has been read, and so they are in a bit of a nuisance value zone, because they can create all the hue and cry they want, but as far as concrete steps are being done, we have done just about anything, and so all of the resistance that they will try to muster in this is very likely to fail.
Usman, when we talk of the 27 points that have been proposed by the FATF, could you briefly go through those points?
Absolutely. It's always difficult to keep 40 points or 27 points in mind, so the way I frame it is in terms of stakeholders.
All right.
So the first thing is they ask about the financial monitoring unit. Do you have something that has assessments of risk and then goes against organizations based on a risk thing? Then they go ask that, do you inform your judiciary? Do you inform your financial institutions about the risk? Are they aware of it? Then does your state bank do audit of financial institutions? Then, because cash is something that is not detectable easily, do you have counterfeit or cash smuggling measures? We do. Do you have checks at the airport so that this stuff isn't taken abroad? We do. Similarly, do you have interprovincial and federal coordination among your mechanisms? One of the points that we've succeeded is that we do now. And so you can go across a list of things. Another one I'd like to mention is NGOs, non-government organizations. They call it NPOs, and they have a moniker DNFBI, and it's designated non-financial banking institutions. So do you have measures to make sure that these are streamlined? Well, we do. So those are examples, and the best way to frame it for people who are not experts in the field is to look at all the stakeholders that would be involved in an architecture, and are we going step by step?
When you talk of stakeholders, let's talk about the different members. It's a huge body, the FATF. When should we expect a result on Pakistan from the FATF's meeting that starts tomorrow?
The formal announcement should be on the 21st.
All right.
But you will get your signals as soon as the 19th tomorrow. That'll give you an indication of where it's going. But we've already had an indication, because the Beijing meeting last month was already an indication that things are headed in the right direction.
All right. Thank you very much, Usman Chohan. It was short, but it was very interesting and very informative. Even I got to know a lot of points from you. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. FATF meeting is happening tomorrow. We all wish for Pakistan to come out of the grey list, of the watch list, and come on the white list, but we'll see, of course, by the 21st, inshallah. We hope for the best. Also, when we talk of pressure on India, let's talk about the international pressure that is coming on India on the Kashmir.